Are you about to make a mistake that could potentially cost you thousands of dollars when buying your home? I see it all the time. Buyers falling into these traps that are totally avoidable, but not you. Today, we're going to cover the top 5 mistakes I've seen home buyers make over and over, and more importantly, how to avoid them. So, whether you're a first time home buyer or you've been around the block a few times, stick around because this video is going to save you time, money, and most importantly, relieve stress. Hi, my name is Ian Collins, and today we're going to cover 5 mistakes I see buyers make over and over again. And if you can implement one of these or two of these, let alone all of them, it will save you so much time and money, and more importantly, stress. This is already a stressful endeavor, but let's try to reduce it and make it the best experience possible. I've also made this into a PDF that I'll put the link in the description below, so let's check it out. All right, number 1. Skipping the pre-approval process. I feel like you can't beat this into the ground enough, but too often buyers are so eager to start in the house hunting through Zillow or whatever, and you start scrolling before you ever get pre-approved and know what your budget is. And I know it hurts and I know it's hard to ask, but just don't do it. And here's why. One of the things that can happen is that you get what's called budget creep. You start looking at $750,000 homes, $800,000 homes, 900, and all of a sudden you're looking at $1.2 million homes. And while you think that's okay, which it is, naturally your psychological, your consumer behavior, you'll start looking at the homes in your budget so much different. Like the ones in your budget won't ever mount up to the ones that are $5 million. So if you're buying a $800,000 house, it will never compare to a $2 million house. So it kind of starts you off on a bad foot. The second thing that happens, which is even more, I don't know, catastrophic and emotionally jarring, is you go and you actually find a home in your budget. It's 780,000 or whatever you're approved. You think you're going to be approved for 800,000, whatever, and you go and you rush to go get pre-approved because you found your dream home. And getting pre-approved and actual pre-approval takes some time. That home, by the time you're done and you get your pre-approval, we submit the offer, the home is already gone and you're heartbroken. So save the heartbreak and make sure you get pre-approved first. Like I put on here, you see with the little funny guy with the pre-approval. Don't fall in love and miss out on an opportunity that's in your budget, and get pre-approved early in the process. It doesn't hurt. It's easier to extend a pre-approval than it is to get started. And a good lender will give you also the closing conditions too. So maybe you need support and documentation from, I don't know, a CPA from 3 years ago. That's easier to get and will allow us to move forward if you get it done early. I know it sucks and it's not the fun, sexy part of buying a home, but just get pre-approved first. Mistake number 2, overextending your budget. Kind of like what we talked about earlier in the skipping the pre-approval process. This is kind of along the same lines, except after you've already been pre-approved. So what happens? People go and the lender will pre-approve you for 800,000. So you start looking at homes that are 800,000, and you don't correlate that mortgage payment is really hard on your budget, right? You want to be able to have some buffer room for, lifestyle stuff like vacations and, kids sports and all that stuff. You want to have enough money so you're not have enough buffer in your budget so you don't have to get into a lot of financial strain in general. And then on top of that, your house is going to need maintenance just like your car or anything else. And if you've overextended your budget, then you won't have room for that. So here's some tips to kind of don't fall into this trap. First, my favorite is I sit down all of my clients, and after the lender says, "Hey, John Smith, you were pre-approved for 800,000," we go and I'll show you on a mortgage calculator how you can adjust that for yourself. Remember to include HOA if you're looking at condos or townhomes or even a lot of these planned urban developments. Also take into account insurance and all that, so you can see that, okay, 800,000 at $7,000 a month mortgage, okay, that's what I'm pre-approved up to. But I want to maybe come down to $6,000 a month as a mortgage with everything, PITI, property interest or principal interest, tax and insurance. What is that going to buy me? So we'll go on the scale, and then you can see like, okay, $6,000 a month, that's what I want to pay. These are the homes that I can afford at $6,000 a month. I don't want to pay full mortgage full end of my pre-approval. And that's incredibly empowering, and I highly recommend it. Any realtor that tells you to go blow past your pre-approval doesn't care about you and your future. So check the link below. I'm going to do an entire video how to use a mortgage calculator and kind of estimate what to put in, whether it's a first-time home buyer, a VA loan, or regular conventional, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're getting into before you actually get into it. The next mistake is kind of crazy, and people forget about this, but ignoring the neighborhood. It's often talked about location, location, location. But when you start going to buy a home, you start getting myopic vision on the actual home itself. You know, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, is a kitchen remodel, yada, yada, yada. And then forget about the area that it's in. And then not only that, people think about schools more often than not, but the commute and some of these other lifestyle choices that is going to affect you once the honeymoon stage wears off of buying a home. If you have to commute 2 hours a day to go to wherever you work at, that's going to put a lot of strain on you. It's not a good idea. So one thing to do is research the neighborhood. Always look at the commute time for wherever you're living and have an honest, objective thought process. Like, okay, can I take an hour drive every single day, both ways for work? Make sure the commute to schools is reasonable, that you have amenities like shopping and grocery stores, and try just not to fixate on the home. Like it's important, but remember, you can always change the home, whether it's changing the fixtures, paint, knocking down walls, whatever you want to do, but you can't change the neighborhood. So take that into account. Use Google Maps. I put in here, even go look at the area in different times of the day. If you can, don't be creepy, but talk to neighbors and just see how they like it and what are some of their complaints and gripes and what do they like about the neighborhood. That's awesome. And then Google Maps. Like, Google Maps is such an amazing tool. I bought my home in Bonita before even seeing it by using Google Maps and kind of laying out the area. I knew where the grocery stores were. I knew how to get to the freeways, everything, just by using Google Maps. So use all the tools at your disposal. Make sure you do not just get fixated on the home that you can obviously change by yourself. I mean, it's important, but make sure you take into account the neighborhood, and don't forget that you can change the internals of your home, but you cannot change the neighborhood that it's in. Mistake number 4, not getting a home inspection. I hate that I still have to put this on here, but for whatever reason, back in 2019 to 2021, when the market was crazy, for some reason, realtors and other people started advising their clients to just negate the home inspection contingency. I cannot reiterate how dangerous that is for you. Perfect example. One of my clients was buying a home. We were in escrow in this home in San Diego, kind of by 32nd Street, military. We went, got a home inspection. I make all of my clients get home inspections. I stand by it so much that I even cover the cost, because I don't want you to buy something that's going to just blow up on you in a week or two. So got the home inspection. During the home inspection, we found a little bit of moisture in the wall. And then on further inspection, they flew the drone up and they found that the flippers had just forgot to put the caps on the roof. Sadly enough, it doesn't really rain in San Diego, but the next 3 days it was going to rain. So I told my client, I was like, hey, listen, this is going to be a huge issue. It already has a ton of moisture in the walls. If they don't put it up by the time the rain comes, you're potentially in a huge cluster of trouble, especially if it's an adjoining wall with another unit. You're in the military, man. You're not even here. Like, I highly suggest that we just walk. We can find something else. This is not an endeavor you want to take. And that's the power of the home inspection. It allows you to see what you're going to get into before you do. And this includes even new build homes. Don't think just because it's a new build that you don't need to get a home inspection, or to trust that the builder is going to do it for you. Always get a home inspection. Understand the material condition of the home that you're about to purchase, because this is a long-term investment and you don't want to be stuck with some issue that is going to blow up your bank account. Mistake number 5, emotional buying versus logical decision making. And you can see here, I put the little funny little cartoon guy falling in love with the house. And when emotions run high, common sense and logic run low. And unfortunately, there's a honeymoon phase when you're buying a home. And in order to avoid that, like, buyer's remorse that hits a lot of people, you have to try to remain as objective as possible. Now, what does that mean? People fall in love with homes. It's just, I don't know what's with the psyche, but people fall in love with homes. And if you fall in love with something that's not practical or you're going to outgrow, now all of a sudden you're buying and having to move in a year or two, and that's just never a good financial decision. Perfect example, like a client just fell in love with this gorgeous penthouse that was downtown, and they had 3 kids. It's like I get it, it's gorgeous, the view's gorgeous, it's a beautiful space, but it's not practical for you. So in order to avoid this, do a nice to have and must have list, and then rank it in order of priority. Do this before you start even looking for homes, and sit down with your partner, or if you're buying by yourself, have a third party, your parents or a close friend, kind of fact check you and be like, okay, you really want 3 bedrooms, but price is really important to you. So is that third bedroom really necessary? Do this before you start home buying and use it as an anchor. Because as you start looking at homes, there's so many homes and so many locations and so many different variables that it's easy to kind of go down a rabbit hole and forget the main goal of buying a home that you're going to be able to live in for the next 3 to 5 years. So must haves and nice to haves. And then when we start looking, and it might evolve while we're looking for homes, but every so often look at that nice to have, must have list and keep yourself grounded. And then when you make a mistake or you make a decision, you know that, hey, this one checks my top 4, top 3 must haves. That's awesome. That's better than any other home. And then you're not fixated on all these other attributes and amenities and different stuff that's going on. You're focused on getting your must haves. And then your nice to haves, we get a couple in there too. That's great too. But now you have a ranking system that you can rank each home that you look at, and it's not just subjective how you feel in the moment. So those are the 5 mistakes I've seen home buyers make over and over again. Once again, if you can implement 1 or 2 of these strategies, let alone all of them, you'll be way ahead of the learning curve, and you will save yourself so much time, money, and stress. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget that I put the description for this PDF in the description below so you can download it at your leisure. Stay tuned and watch this mortgage video and how to do the mortgage calculator so you can stay ahead of the game as I promised you. And once again, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next video.